Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to make us all a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. So, today I want to talk about what happened to me on January 3rd when I completely blew one of my New Year's resolutions before the week was even over. And I want to talk about why that really might be the most important thing that could have happened for me. Like, what a great reminder. So, I woke up on January 3rd, and my best friend Drea and I always do this spiritual writing together. And for the last 3 years, one of our things is I want to stay off my darn phone. Like it's just always like there are all these beautiful spiritual things we're writing. And at the end, it's like, I want to stay off my darn phone. So, one of the things in my spiritual writing was really staying away from my darn phone, but getting into my morning practice, my prayer, my meditation, my writing, my reading before I do anything else, especially before I look at my phone, because they say that the thing you do first in the morning is sort of the God of your understanding for the day. And as you'll learn in this story, Wordle many days is the God of my understanding. And so this really, really matters to me, like really matters. It's not a casual intention that I threw out there. So this is why on January 2nd, I very consciously put my phone downstairs before bed because I was very serious about this. Except, as you well know, on January 3rd, I woke up and for some reason my phone was right next to me on my side table. And I don't know. If you're a phone person, you know. I must have like grabbed it the night before without thinking, or maybe I was checking something before I fell asleep, or honestly, maybe I was half awake in the middle of the night and brought it back upstairs. The relationship is real. I don't really even know quite why. And I reflectively just reached for it, that autopilot move where your hand just goes for it before your brain even wakes up. I'm sure you understand not even being conscious of a decision and you're suddenly have your nose in a screen. And so I'm literally lying there playing Wordle and I'm checking my email. And then suddenly I have the need to see some recipes on Instagram, and I'm doing all of these things that as a spiritual person who literally talks and teaches about spiritual ideas, presence, mindfulness, and the like, you know, I don't want to do first thing in the morning. Because here's what I know about myself when I start my day with a phone. My nervous system gets so activated before I've even had a chance to ground myself, before I've even had a chance to plug in to something bigger than me. I'm taking other people's energy in, other people's problems, other people's content before I've even checked in with myself and something bigger than me. So, anyway, I realized halfway through my Wordle, trying to figure out like where the E goes. And I was like, oh God, I messed it up. I messed up the resolution. I was really mad, you know? And there was that real moment where I could feel that familiar pull of shame starting to creep in, that voice you have, I have it. See, can't even make it 3 days, what's wrong with you? But, I do care about this commitment. It really, really matters to me. And, January 3rd night, put my phone downstairs again, really, really consciously, because I'm aiming to do this perfectly, even though I know I'm going to do it imperfectly. That's the whole point. It's kind of the whole point of everything, right? And then I just do love when the universe gives me little nods, a little God nod, as they say, because I went to yoga class on January 3rd, and my teacher literally told this story. He told this story as his Dharma story. He had two friends that had already, quote unquote, ruined their New Year's resolutions on January 3rd. And gosh, I love laughter because the whole class laughed, like a knowing laugh. Because, like, of course we had. It's January 3rd, we're all human. And to me, it's a great reminder of how we really need to be holding these New Year's resolutions like lightly, gently, if we're making them. It's not cool to blow off our commitments, don't get me wrong. And it's also not like, okay, I blew it, I'll try again next year. Like, I want to strive to honor my commitments, I want to care, and I also want to be really gentle and loving and get right back on track when I don't. Both are true at the very same time. And that brings me to our pocket sage today, Thich Nhat Hanh. Oh my gosh. He was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk and a peace activist, and he's just one of the most beloved teachers of mindfulness. So if you don't know him, know him. And our reading today comes from his book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. He writes, feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Each breath is a new beginning. Let me read that again for those of you in the back. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Each breath is a new beginning. And I love this. What I love about it is that we always get to begin again. Not necessarily because the first attempt doesn't matter, because literally each breath is a new opportunity. But you don't have to wait until next week or next month or next year. You can just try again right now. And again, this is not permission to be sloppy with our commitments. It's permission to care deeply and mess up anyway, and then come right back. And so our word of the day is imperfection. And imperfection is not failure. It's proof that you're human and that you're trying. It's what happens when you set an intention and then life shows up with your phone in your hand doing Wordle on the screen before you even realize what you're doing, right? It's that gap between who you want to be and who you are in this exact moment. And that gap is not necessarily a problem to solve. It's just a space to allow growth to happen. And imperfection really can let us laugh at ourselves halfway through Wordle instead of spiraling into shame, right? It's what lets us say, ugh, here I am, I messed it up, right? And then just start again with that same beautiful, intense commitment. Because here's the truth. If you're waiting until you can do something perfectly before you try, you're going to be dead. You're never going to try, right? And if you think that one slip means that you failed at something, you're going to quit before you even get started. And so imperfection is the permission slip to keep going. And so I love that quote. I think it's Voltaire, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And when it comes to New Year's resolutions, honestly, or any of these any kind of change we're trying to make, perfectionism is going to kill your momentum faster than anything else. Mark my words. Because when we're operating from perfectionism, we set a rule, we break it once, and then we decide the whole thing is ruined. We go from, I looked at my phone on day 3 to, I can't do this. What's the point? I'm terrible at change. And that's not actually true. That's just perfectionism talking. The real work of life is not never messing up, right? The real work of life is learning how to mess up and keep going anyway. And to be honest, it's something that we work on deeply in my Stop Starting Over system, especially when it comes to food and emotional eating. It's actually the key to it in many ways because so many people think that if they have one binge, one slip, one moment where they eat when they're not hungry, they've totally failed and they might as well give up. But that's not actually how healing works. That's not how change works. Change actually happens in the returning, I did the thing I said I didn't want to do. Okay, like let me start again with that knowledge in hand, right? Like I put my phone very far away now. It's not just like downstairs in the kitchen. So listen, we need to hold our intentions with both commitment and gentleness. We need to care enough to try and try hard, and we need to care enough to forgive ourselves when we don't get it right. Because the goal is not perfection. The goal is to keep showing up, to keep choosing, to keep beginning again, breath by breath, day by day, wordle by wordle. And that is literally how you heal, right? You aim for it, and when you slip, you get right back on track with compassion instead of shame. So, your question to go on into your day today, my friends. What resolution or intention are you holding on to with too much perfectionism? And what would it look like to hold it with both commitment and self compassion instead? And listen, I whispered a little bit about my stop starting over system, but we do talk about it, this perfectionism and anti-perfectionism so much in the program. We just really learn how to interrupt that perfectionism shame cycle and practice self-compassion. And so if you're curious about working together, I'm curious about working together. I would love to chat. You can learn more and schedule a free call with me at mollycarmel.com. And for the rest of you, I am right here with you, my beloved ascenders, learning to be imperfect and keep going anyway. We rise together. Until next time.